Hi, everybody. Russ and the West Ham Network. Hope you are all safe and well, my friends. Very much so. It's Thursday. God, we're getting through this week. It feels like I'm running through treacle this week. I don't know why. Maybe because of the fun that was the transfer deadline day. But obviously, we're on the road to Newcastle, which we're really looking forward to. Really looking forward to that game. That's exactly what we need to play a team who are up in the top division, top bit of the Premier League at the moment, and having had such a great result, and obviously through to the Carabao Cup final in a couple of weeks' time. And we do it as we usually do an opposition preview. We get a fan from the opposition, and just talk about West Ham and that particular team. And obviously that particular team is Newcastle, and that particular person is Kendall. Let's bring her in. How are we doing, Kendall?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Thank you for having me. We were talking off screen when it wasn't live, saying that everyone's annoyed that I'm on the podcast now because I'm happy and I'm overly positive, and it's really not good when other teams are going through stuff that I know that I've been through and we've been through as a club. And I'm like, yay, like everything's fine. But I won't be too. I'll try not to be too happy.
No. Take it, because this was us. This was us the last 2 years until this season. So take
That's
it.
True.
And what sounds like a beginning of a joke. We've got an Essexman, a Geordie girl, and a Scotsman. There he is, walking to a pub.
Oi, Samaloys.
It'll be a good night out. That I think it'll be a decent.
It does,
night
yeah.
out.
It could be a good night out.
It'll be a cracking night out. Cracking night out in Newcastle all the time when we go up there, which is always good fun. Always good fun. Let's get the Carabao Cup out of the way. You must be buzzing about that.
Yeah, I'm absolutely buzzing. I was only 3 the last time we got to a final, so it was 1999. So yeah, I've never seen us in a final.
Sorry, you were 3 in 1999. Yeah. Oh my God, how old are we, Anton? Come on, man.
I was 3, so. I wish I could say like maybe I wasn't born or something, but no, I was 3. But I don't remember it. So yeah, this is going to be insane for me. To be fair, I was a little bit overconfident, and I did book a hotel after the Leicester game because I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do it. Like, what's the problem? I'm just going to do it.
You know what? You've made the best decision.
Yeah,
exactly. Because now everything's like a fortune. Like everything's like $1,000 a night. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. I got it at a good price. So, yeah, I'm really, really happy about it. To be fair, the game the other night was a little bit worrying, considering we were 3-0 up on aggregate at one time, and I was still worried. That hasn't left me yet. I'm still very much, oh God, it's Newcastle United. You know, like there's something can happen here, no matter what we do. But yeah, I'm really, really excited. I was very emotional, very very emotional.
Oh, I can totally understand that. I think our last final was 2006, was it, the FA Cup final, Anton? That was fun with Steven Gerrard.
Yeah.
Scoring the last minute equaliser and taking it to extra time penalties.
But it's nice to hear the positivity for you, Kendall, because we said on air beforehand, like me and Russ and all West Ham fans have had that for the last, just a bit of success.
Yeah.
We never went on and won anything. That would have put the cherry on the cake. And but yeah, we know that feeling, and right now we feel like we've handed the torch. You've handed the torch over to us.
Yeah, exactly. We did a bit of a swap, but obviously you got the the better deal at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, for you guys particularly, obviously it's been a hell of an upturn in the last, say this season, really, isn't it? Really, I mean, it started towards the end of last season in terms of the revolution, and now it's sort of in full force. What's the main difference to say pre-Howe revolution? What's changed? Why are you so different now as a team?
This is going to be like cliche, obviously, but like everything's changed. So just in terms of the team, everyone's on the same page for once. I've not seen that. Probably the last time I saw anything close to it was probably when we were in the Championship under Rafa Benitez. That was probably the last time I saw anything as close to as being, for use of a better word, as united as we are, like on the field and off the field. Like the lads are just so together. They're such good friends. Everyone's on the same page in terms of where the club wants to go, and like the fact that we've got a manager who actually is very, very modern in the game, who's really, really good tactically, knows what he's doing. Everything's changed. I mean, the club from the bottom to the top is completely changed. We've got like roles now, which we never had. It used to just be Mike Ashley and Lee Charnley who did everything. We had like one scout. We've now got like sports science departments and analyst roles and things like that. Like, we've never had that as a club. So yeah, it's just everything from top to bottom's changed, but mainly on the pitch, it's just the togetherness and the fact that everyone knows what the goal is now. You know, we actually are actively ambitious now, which we never were before. It was just kind of, let's stay in the league and hope that we don't get relegated again this year, or fight relegation this year. So yeah, it just feels like the outlook on everything is just a lot more positive now, and the fans are actually on the same page as the team for once.
Yeah.
So I say,
go on, you go first. Go on.
No, you go.
No, you go. You go.
I was just going to say how important is Eddie Howe? I mean, listen, we can always sit here and talk about new owners, and of course that gives you, considering where you were at before. But I mean, Eddie Howe is a reputable manager, but some people wanted him, some people didn't want him. You know, when he was out of a job, and West Ham fans were talking about him, other clubs were talking about him, and Newcastle brought him in and gave him the backing really to go and do what you need to do, and you, the fans, have backed him as well. I mean, how important is he to the club?
Yeah, he's completely important. I always say, everyone always, talks about the money and the signings and stuff, but in relativity to everybody else around us, we actually haven't spent that much compared to everyone else. When you look at us in terms of what we spent specifically last year, yes, like last season, yes, we have spent, but as I say, compared to everyone else, get a little bit of perspective, it's not a lot. But I always say the biggest signing that we ever made and the most important was Eddie Howe. I think a lot of people, when we got him as manager, were like, oh, this isn't like a takeover style manager, like we wanted like Pochettino or like someone like that. And I was really happy because despite the fact everyone wants to call him, the man who got Bournemouth relegated, they don't call him the man that got Bournemouth literally from League Two up to the Premier League and consistently stayed there all that time for a number of years until obviously the competition was just too good and the owners didn't invest enough. The way Bournemouth fans speak about him is like they don't have a negative word to say. I've never heard that from a manager who's left a club. The only closest one I would say is probably Bobby Robson. When he left us, I've never heard such high praise for a manager. And I was actually even talking to Russ, you might know Tom from the Bournemouth fan channel, and he was saying that he is really excited for Eddie Howe to go back when we play them in a few weeks' time because he's going to get heroes welcome. Now that for me is like literally, you can't ask for higher praise than that from a club that you're no longer at. It's like genuinely incredible, and the fact that he's coming, he knew the job at hand. He wasn't scared. We were 20th in the table when he took over, and ended up 10th in the table. 11th in the table when we finished the season. He wasn't scared. He is just, everything is just like in his stride. He's really happy. He's really, when he takes interviews and press conferences, like you understand and believe every single word that he says. He's just so genuine, and he's just took the club and took the culture that comes with Newcastle United, which is extremely loyal fans, who had a lot of difficult years over the past 10, 15 years. He's just took it all on board, and he's really happy to be there. And the fact that, for me, it was like really important the other week when he said, I want to win the semi-final, because to me, getting to a semi-final is an absolute, if you don't win, it's pointless. And I know that might sound harsh, but he's right. If you get to a semi-final and you get beat, there was literally no point.
we know that Europa League. There's no point semi-final,
So he was right in what he said. He said, I want to get to the final. I want to win something with this club. And he's just altered the culture completely, and everyone's just really positive, and his positivity and his honesty is really refreshing. No excuses, not like the previous manager who was like, oh, I don't do tactics, I'm really sorry. I mean, you can't be a manager in bloody 2023 who doesn't do tactics. Do you know what I mean? Like, what are you doing?
Just to add to what you're saying there about how what I like about him as a person looking in is that something we had for a little while, which was finding players. Doesn't matter really the value, it's about the right player to that piece of jigsaw. So when you look around your team, it's like, and getting the best of players you had, albeit taking away the off-field antics. But look at Joe Linton. Look what he's done with Joe Linton. Like, I can't get my head around what's happened there with a player of him. Like,
it was literally like a flop, like genuinely a flop. And I was like, honestly, and not even just me, probably like 95% of the fan base at one point was like, just get rid. There's no point. We're never going to make money back on him. It was £40 million. Just see you later. Like, we may as well just get rid now because he's never going to be any good. But the problem was with him at the time, there was, as I said earlier, there was people at the club who didn't genuinely know what they were doing. And that might sound bizarre considering you're running a Premier League club, but there was people who genuinely didn't have a clue what they were doing. And they bought square pegs to fit round holes, and they bought Joe Linton as a number 9, which, by the way, he never even was. Like, even at any point in his career, he was a winger. So why we bought him as a number 9, I'll never know. So I did feel sorry for him. And then, Eddie Howe's turned him into one of the most important players. He is so good. Like, genuinely, when you watch him, I can't believe the change. Like, the physicality, he wins every challenge he goes in for. He's not shy. He doesn't shy away from the ball. Like, everything about him is just exceptional. And every single player across the team has improved, like, significantly as well. Like, obviously Almiron's another one who is a standout. Fabian Schär, who's been at the club now for nearly 5 years, it was on the bench under Steve Bruce. Do you know what I mean? So it's just, and he's now part of the best defence in the league. So every single thing has improved from top to bottom, and we've bought in stages as well. So we haven't. I remember, like, Eddie Howe saying when he did the podcast with Jake Humphrey, that high performance podcast, that he goes into a transfer window. And rather than thinking of, like, 5 years time, like obviously maybe Chelsea are doing at the moment, you know, like, let's sign 18-year-olds for 8 years. Yeah. He goes into a transfer window and buys for what he needs at that time. So hence why probably people are looking on the outside in and looking at our transfer window and being like, oh, that was a bit, we're not expected more from you this month. But he buys the players that fit the mould at that time and what we need. We need another fullback. So that's obviously and at Harrison Ashby. So
I mean, obviously in terms of your transfer business this season, obviously you look at, you know, spending money on. I know you on Twitter didn't think the Gordon thing was going to happen, and it happened. And obviously getting him in for 45 million quid, I think that's going to be a very shrewd buy. But you know, my boo, can't believe he's gone. He's gone finally. It's taken him. He was going to go in the summer, weren't he? And he's finally over there. You've got a hell of a player there. You've got a hell of a young talent there. And I think, we've been, number 2 to Trippier this season. I think he's going to be, he'll be the one
Kendall,
that got away.
I just want to back up like a bit like what Russ said. So Russ obviously was very fortunate enough to see a bit more of our development team, especially during a time where no fans were allowed in the stadium. So Russ was the only really fan that was allowed in at the stadium, got a chance to see some of our youth development players and kept speaking about Ashby early doors, even before he was even around getting a sniff around the first team. And it's a position that we need to strengthen in as well. And there's a big topical thing going on with West Ham's youth system. But, I think the minute that Newcastle showed a bit of interest, for loads of reasons, I think there's going to be an element of not the fact that he's maybe got a chance to step up if Trippier, say, is injured or whatever, and also being made the professional contract and getting a decent contract will be another Brucey bonus for him. But he does look like a real talent. Like he's played a couple of games for us, and every time he's played up, he's never shied away from anything that he was asked to do. So his signature going to Newcastle sent a ripple through the West Ham fans.
Yeah.
That should show you what kind of talent you're getting.
Well, I was reading
it's the Academy of Football,
I was reading the comments because obviously Everton fans, when we got Gordon, were very nasty. Is the word I'll use. Extremely nasty. I kind of get it on another level because obviously the whole not turning up to train and things like that, and so I do get it. However, both are very similar situations. Both are extremely young. Players who still have a lot of time to develop. Obviously, Gordon's got a little bit more experience in the Premier League than Ashby, but still, both academy prospects came through the ranks at their obviously respective clubs. And the way that you guys spoke about Ashby compared to the way Everton fans spoke about Gordon was like extremely telling for me. I've never seen Harrison Ashby play in my life. So I don't know anything about the kid. I really don't know anything about him. But the way you guys were speaking about him, I was like, this is great.
Yeah.
Like, this is a genuinely great signing. And for obviously the fee as well, it seems pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain players. I mean, you'd have watched, your maybe the youth teams develop and see some of the players maybe at some of the youth games or when they bring him in for the cup games or whatnot. With Ashby, he and a Mars bar and everything else and a Toblerone that's its way out. But for me, he's a guy who. He's a kid who walks on. When he walked onto the pitch, he looked like a footballer. the way he holds himself. You know, he's already a little bit bow-legged as well for football. You know, how they just sort of,
yeah.
And so, I think he's going to be particularly if anyone was comparing him to, he would be Trippier in terms of his style of play. So you can see why Eddie Howe was keen about getting him in and being a sort of deputising for Trippier now. Now he's second in line, where at West Ham he's probably fourth in line at the moment.
Right.
Not through talent or skill, but through longevity more than anything.
Okay.
You know, the players ahead of him are like Vladimir Soufal, who's been there a while under Moyes, and Ben Johnson, who's been playing there a while, and obviously Tilo Kehrer, who we bought in the summer. So, you know, just by the fact that he's had players being brought in front of him and players have been there long enough, that's the reason he never got a game, unfortunately.
And he could have made a statement really in the summer. He spoke out and said, "This is my, you know, I want to make an impact this season." Yeah. And that was probably before any interest back in the summer that Newcastle had made. Then I think the interest definitely turned his head. Definitely.
Totally. Yeah. So you've done some good transfer stuff in the window. I think us and Everton are probably the only two teams who are worse off than we probably started in January.
Did you sign anyone? Who did you sign?
Well, we signed Danny Ings, but he got injured after 20 seconds. He got injured after 20 seconds.
Oh my God, did he?
Yeah, so you don't worry, he won't be playing tomorrow on Saturday. And we signed a centre back from Sao Paulo who's 20, and they put him straight into the academy. So that was it. It could have been worse though. Forest have just signed Andre Ayew, the 29th player they've just signed.
Yeah.
So
they've got like 3 squads. I don't know what is going on over there.
Yeah,
I really don't. Like, are they just like going to find a player until eventually something clicks? Like, they're just going to be like, just get every single player, and they're going to have like 15 starting 11s in a season. Like, it's going to be insane.
It's crazy. We talk about development through the youth team. No chance over there in Forest.
Kendall, there is a player that I want to bring up, and it's going to be a huge miss for the game on Saturday, of course. And Russ did a segment on it. We don't talk about Bruno. No. But
it's true. You know? we don't have to talk about him for Saturday. Thank God.
So, you know, as West Ham fans, we've seen what he's capable of doing. I'm going to give you a double-barrel question, but I'm also going to let you know, when we were doing the transfer show on our channel the other night, it quickly came through that he got sent off, and immediately our thoughts were, great, because it's good, and it's going to at least, there's a little positive, like maybe for the trip up there, but how important has he been, and how much of a miss will he be?
He'll be a huge miss, because he dictates a lot of the play in midfield, because Joe Willock is the ball carrier now and Joe Linton is the physicality in midfield. So Bruno does everything else. He is the most box-to-box midfielder that we have, because he can play as a 6, he can play as an 8. He's going to be a massive miss, just because what he brings to the team, that quality just cannot be... It just can't be replaced in certain times. But the only thing now is, I honestly can't even going to say this, I don't think I've ever felt as comfortable as I do when a player like Bruno's missing. And that for me is I don't know if it's half worrying, because I'm like, am I getting a little bit too carried away? But I honestly think we'll be fine. We'll be fine without, and we've been without him before, early on in the season. Last season as well, he was injured around the same time as Trippier, St. Maximin, Wilson, things like that, and we were still fine. So that's, again, massive testament to Eddie Howe and the players, because they've got us to a point where we're actually not significantly worried about losing Bruno. I do think he's going to be a big miss, don't get me wrong, but I think, we've got enough cover there now in Joe Linton, and we've obviously signed Gordon, who can maybe slot in there, and Joe Linton can move back into midfield, because he has been playing on the wing lately. So a Joe Linton, Willock, Longstaff midfield doesn't scare me too much. But yeah, I do think he'll be a miss, just because, as I said, he does things that other players on the pitch can't and don't do. So, but yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned one of our nemesis in that. West Ham have a long history with a certain player.
Don't say it. Don't say his name. No.
If you say his name 3 times, he'll score against you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know, but wherever he plays,
Callum Wilson.
Wherever he plays, he loves West Ham.
He loves to go against West Ham.
He loves them.
Particularly with his podcast buddy will be there as
well.
I
was going to say, he's got his mate with your guy.
Sitting there sort of saying how much they fucking hate West Ham and he wants to move and stuff like that. And, Callum bloody Wilson. Yeah. Oh, God.
I must say, Callum at the moment, I don't know what's going on with him. I don't. But something has happened or something has gone on since the World Cup, especially since Christmas, and he's just not the same.
Don't say that because
until
Kendall,
this
is prime West Ham. Prime. You've just primed
well,
it.
My kickstart him in. I'll be fine about that again. I'll be fine if he gets kickstarted again.
Probably the perfect game for him, actually, isn't it, Russ?
It is the perfect game for him. West Ham. Although defensively we're all right. It's the other side. It's up front. We don't tend to score, but defensively. But Callum Buddy Wilson, Neil Mopai, he always scores against us. Romelu Lukaku, thank God's not around anymore. And what's his face? He used to be at Brighton. Glenn Murray, but he's gone.
Oh, yeah.
He's retired. So that's all right. But Callum bloody Wilson, he strikes
loves a bit of punditry. Does Glenn now, doesn't he?
God, yeah. But I mean, another guy that we were interested in, well, apparently over the summer, which you guys got, was old Sven Botman. Seems to be a real colossus. Seems to be playing all right with you guys at the moment.
Honestly, he is so good. I mean, look, we haven't had the best centre backs to pick from. Don't get us wrong, for the last 20 years, for me being watching anyway. But my dad keeps bringing up the fact that he probably thinks he's probably the best centre back he's seen at Newcastle since Woodgate.
Wow.
To the point that he might be better than Woodgate, and that's coming from my dad, who Woodgate's one of my dad's favourite players. So for my dad to say that, my dad's been going to games for 35 years now, and yeah, so he's very that is a big compliment for him. Honestly, everyone was whinging about him before he came because they were like, he's not a ball playing centre back. He is slow. He is bad at playing out from the back. Everything that we were kind of doing at that time, and I was like, oh God, great! This is going to be just fantastic, isn't it? And honestly, he does everything well. He's genuinely a fantastic centre back. Like, everything he does, he's so calm. Everything he does off the ball as well, aside from on the ball, is just his physicality and just his calm and presence along the back line is just, honestly, I cannot praise him anymore. And the fact that I actually think the only game we've lost genuinely with him at the back, it was a cup game against Sheffield Wednesday. So we've not lost a game with him playing. So that, for me, I know there's obviously four defenders in your back line, but in our back line anyway. But yeah, he is
the same with Naif again.
He's unbelievable.
Yeah.
When you said there as well, like when your dad's favourite player was Jonathan Woodgate, you made me feel even older, because I thought you were going to say Warren Barton, Philippe Albert.
Oh no, my dad loves the mid-90s.
Like,
my dad loves the mid-90s. My dad's always like, oh no, I've never seen a right back.
Do you know what?
There's another thing. Dad hasn't seen a right back as good as Warren Barton until Trippier. So
yeah,
I saw
when we played. Who was the Belgium side we played this season? Anderlecht. Philippe Albert was doing commentary, and the state of him. Honestly, I saw him straight away, and I knew it. I'm going to find a picture. You won't believe what he looks like now, because I still see him with a moustache and.
You sent me the picture.
I sent you the picture.
Sent me it, and you were like, "Who's this?" And that's right, you did. You did.
Find it now. Go on, carry on. Carry on.
I'll never forget his goal, his chip against Man United. I mean, I'm just an unbelievable player back then. But yeah, no, listen. I mean, with West Ham. Kendall, I mean, West Ham have gone through a massive transition in the summer. We've spent a lot of money, questionably a couple of windows too late, but we have brought in a lot of new players and a lot of new talent, and we've got a lot of new talent, and we've been struggling. However, in the last couple of weeks, we've picked up a little bit of form. Defensively is not our issue, but equally, defensively is not your issue.
No.
But our issue is putting the ball in the back of the net.
And it has been as well.
0-0 draw incoming, 0-0 draw.
What's your kind of outtake on what you've seen, what West Ham have gone through, and how are you feeling ahead of the game in the weekend?
Yeah, I feel okay. Do you know what though? I go into a game now, and I know at some point that our form's going to drop, because you can't. It's just not possible for us to continue the form that we have been over the season. If it is, I'll be very surprised. So every game I go into now, I'm like, oh, is this a game? Is this the game we lose it? Honestly, every week I'm like that. And the results against you guys in the past few years as well has been very up and down. Like, there's been a lot of goals scored, but for either side, it's like very weird, like the results in the past few years. So I go into a game, I never know what's going to happen. But from me, looking at West Ham, I was extremely shocked, considering the business he did in the summer. There was players in there that I really wanted, like Skamaka, for example, who I really like. and I liked. I haven't seen that much of him this season again, but
neither have we. Don't
yeah,
worry.
no, you haven't.
That's two of us.
So yeah, there was like I thought you did really good business. I had rated your transfer window pretty highly in the summer, and then it just seemed to drop off. I don't know what happened, or obviously you guys can probably tell me a little bit more. Because the last few years, obviously you've had some sort of European football. The last few years have been playing really, really well. I thought David Moyes has been doing an absolutely under the radar, fantastic job, and then all of a sudden, it just obviously has ended up to where you are right now, which is down the bottom of the table. I just don't know what's happened and why do you obviously I know you guys have spoke about it a million times before, and you can probably pinpoint the issue with accuracy, but like what's happened? Why is it the way that it is?
I think when you said there we can pick it with pinpoint accuracy, I don't think we can, because the fan base is split. Yeah. So there's 50% are going it's one thing and 50% are going saying it's another thing. So it's
I mean the fact is we haven't changed the way we played sort of really from when Moyes first came in for the second stint. Yeah. But where we'd nick a goal, we're not nicking the goal. So like I think, as defensively, I think we're like 4th or 5th in terms of goals conceded, sort of, it's the least amount of goals conceded. But we're like in terms of goals scored, we're right down there, so and that's been the issue. And then we thought, okay, we'll go out and buy a striker. So we went and bought the Italian number 9. Great, he hasn't been injured he's missed 4 games in his whole career or something like that. I think he's only played 4 games since he's joined us.
That's with Isak as well. He never had a major injury. He came to Newcastle, was out for 3 months. I was like, great.
Danny Ings ain't been injured for 18 months. He walks on the pitch 10 seconds into the game against Everton. He does his knee in, so and that's been the trouble. And then the trouble is then you buy players and you try and change a style, and we've got obviously Declan Rice, and we had Souček, and where Dec was the defensive one and Souček was more the attacking sort of midfield one. Dec wanted to do the more attacking one. It sort of misbalanced everything. Now we've gone back to basics a little bit. We sort of tightened up a little bit, but again, it's when you talk about having fresh ideas and things like that. That would be that's what I think a lot of West Ham fans crave, is having someone with fresh ideas. And
as much as you add all that up in the equation, going back to the kind of like what Russ said about putting the ball in the back of the net, there's a famous saying that lots of punditry and ex-West Ham coaches have been saying is the game's won sometimes by fine margins. And taking away the Moyes side of things, some of the games we've lost or drew this season have literally been fine margins. So we've dominated and we've hit the bar 10 times, or exaggeration, or missed a penalty away at Anfield where we would have walked away potentially 1-0 winners. Getting a goal disallowed from VAR, which is just the way the VAR works against Chelsea, but being voted the worst VAR decision in the Premier League. Just fine margins of having 20 attempts in every single game and not putting the bloody ball in the back of the net. That's the frustrating thing. So if we had maybe picked up 7 or 8 more points from those, it just might not be as bad as what we're in just now.
It's true. It is true. And it's just one of those things as well. It's like and I think you probably see it now. When you're up there, hello, in the higher bits of the league, looking down at all of us.
We should really do this though, shouldn't we? Actually, hold on, let me just change this around. There you go.
What's that? That's it. Yeah, looking up there, we're down here.
I feel it feels weird. I get vertigo. I feel
you're on the top, that's what I used to do, innit? When you didn't naturally, you'd scroll to the bottom of the Premier League table, and you're like at the top. You don't even have to scroll down.
Honestly, because someone was asking me the other day, like, "Oh, who's in the relegation zone?" And I was like, I actually don't know. I know about 6 teams who are down there, but I don't know the positions of them. And honestly, that was like, for me, that was the first how I realised, and I was like, God, we're actually doing really well, because that's the first time I've never known that.
Exactly the same. That's exactly what it was. It was almost like, this is what it feels to be one of them lot. But you see, when you're in that higher position, you make your own luck, because you're playing well. So things where, a half chance or a ball hits the post and it goes to your player rather than to a defender. Things like that just seem to happen when you're not desperate for the goal and desperate for the ball. And I think that's the trouble. You get desperate when you're lower down in the league, and it's things you sort of reach extra for a ball and it just doesn't quite work out. But that's been the main reason, I think. And but as you said, the last 2 games, I know we've played Everton and we played Derby, but two clean sheets, 2-0 wins. Mikel Antonio, because obviously Skamaka's not playing because he's in injuries, injections in his knee, and Danny Ings is out. So you got Mikel Antonio and Jared Bowen leading the line.
Actually, Russ made a valid point in another show we did earlier in the week. Yeah, you did actually.
Yeah,
no, you did. You said
thank you. Good night.
we've had a monumental falling off the cliff of people's form, and we've had a large group of players who have had form for 2 years suddenly, collectively, not. Jared Bowen, Tommy Soucek, Mikel Antonio, players that were firing on all cylinders for 2 seasons in a row have suddenly not. However, the positive to take from the last 2 games is 2 or 3 of them have found form again.
Yeah.
So that's the positive going into the Newcastle game. So we'll see.
It's true. It is true. So the main question is: are you feeling confident about Saturday?
No, never confident, man. Honestly, like we could be playing again. Sheffield Wednesday knocked our socks off, so I'm never confident. It's Newcastle. I'm never confident, despite the fact we've lost 1 game this season. I'm genuinely never confident. I'll go into a game worried. The fact it's at home makes me about 2% more confident. But yeah, I'm never. I really want to be that fan who's like shameless and who's like, yeah, we're gonna like be a 3-0, like we're gonna win the cup, like we're gonna do everything. I really want to be that person, but I'm never going to be that person. I just can't. I'm too realistic.
No, I think we were the same when we were in that position. It was almost like we were playing like teams and go, oh, I don't know, it's West Ham, so
yeah,
this is where the road bump is. This is where the dip in the form is, But no, I think you'll always be like that, and as long as you never as long as it doesn't come to a point where you think you end up being Spursy about it and assume that you need to win because you're Tottenham, and it's no, I think. What do you think, Anton, about the game tomorrow on Saturday?
So, when I go to this game in particular, I've been very fortunate to see West Ham have very, very good victories at St James's Park. I go all the way back to when Ian Wright and Trevor Sinclair helped us win 3-0 back in the I can't remember if that was like the late 90s, early noughties. Then more recent when Felipe Anderson and Chicharito helped us win 3-0. And then the first game back last season when we won 4-2 at St James's Park, where I took my son to his first ever football match. I mean, what a match! 6 goals,
poor bugger must be knackered by the time he got to his seat. He had to climb those stairs.
Yeah, well, to be fair, though, I had him on my shoulders as well. And one of the video clips I took, and my wife was like, "Get him down," because he looked shit scared, and he was, because he must have been like whatever height I had, which is 6'4". He had over the top of that as well. So, yeah, it was ridiculous. But listen, I mean, me and Russ are quite half glass full West Ham fans. And I try and take positives. And I get there's negatives, and there's a lot of bloody negatives at West Ham right now. But I try and take the positives, and I try and think, right, okay, where can we do something? I've seen Moyes make a few little changes that no one thought he was going to do. So I go into the game thinking we've kind of, in theory, got nothing to lose. Moyes' old mindset goes, it's better to draw and not lose. Okay. However, some of the changes that have been made over the past couple of weeks have gave me belief, and I need to stick with my belief. I need to think that these players are going to hit form. Bowen's hit a bit of form. Antonio will be up for it. He's sticking around, and I know I can't get rid of it. It just pops out, man. It's gone. It's gone. And I've got to have that belief, and if I don't have that belief, then there's no point in me doing it, So I think we're going to go and give Newcastle a game. I really do, because look at what you're doing, Kendall. Look at what you're doing, and West Ham sometimes like that. Sometimes West Ham, we need to play against harder teams and harder defenses to be able to perform. And West Ham, in history, don't like playing against teams in and around where we're at, because we don't rise to the occasion. And I look at the Europa League as a prime example of that. We played some lower league teams, and Rapid Viennas of the world, and it was just average. But when we played Sevilla, we just took the game to Sevilla. And I always felt like the bigger they come, the harder they fall. Right now, the momentum flows with Newcastle, and that, in theory, is where I think Moyes would want it. And I think it's going to be a big tactical game. Who plays confidence? Bowen, Benny, possibly Soucek, whatever, I don't know. So I think we've got to go for the game, and I think we can get a result. I do think we can get a result. I do think we can.
Yeah, I think we can. I think we could. We hope. We live in hope. We have to. Right. So I'm going to get a few
It's going
questions.
to put the
for
vodka
Kendall.
down. No, put the vodka
Yeah,
down.
exactly. Yeah. What have you been sniffing, mate, up there? Right. Would you take a trophy over a top 4 finish? Oh, this is a question we always got asked. Would you take a trophy over a top 4?
My answers are consistently being the same. First of all, why not both? Second of all, yes, I would, because it just for me, right? I am more confident that we get top 4 consistently over the next 5 years than I am for a trophy. Because a trophy, you need to carry luck with you pretty much at all times in the fight for a trophy. So for me, getting a trophy just gets that argument out of the way. Like the argument that Spurs have had and still have continued to this day. You've never won anything. You've never won a trophy. So what's the point? You can't speak. You can't be in the big 6 because you never won a trophy, blah, blah, blah. I just want that out of the way, because if we win something now, fine. We've got 5-6 years just for everyone to just chill on us and just let us crack on and just do what we need to do. So yeah, I've got a lot more faith that we get like Champions League more consistently than I do a trophy. So it will be a trophy for me all day long.
Yeah, I think it's a general feeling for both for us a lot as well, isn't it, Anton? Last year it was like, because we were this time last year we were in the top 4, and then there's a slight bit cautionary tale there, Kendall. We were in the top 4 last year.
Don't say
this
that.
time.
Don't say
Well, no,
that.
but it's true though, because we did this is where the fan base is split. We forgo the Premier League to go on the European run, and we got to the semi-finals. And like you said, Kendall, when you get beat in the semi-finals, we remember it, but it doesn't really mean anything. And it's pointless, really. But the memories we have as fans are ridiculous. Like, I can't believe we took on some of the teams and done what we've done. So, I would, if I was in your boots right now, I'd be crying. I watch all the videos that I see on social media, and you're a one city club and you hear the fans singing, and it's just, there is pure jealousy oozing out of my skin when I see it, and I'm just like,
I never thought I'd hear anyone say that. Oh, Newcastle stuff. That to me is like bloody hell.
Yeah, but equally though, like if we had made it to the European final last year, there would have been the exact same feeling coming from a lot of other clubs. Like we were so close yet so far, but we had to forgo the Premier League really form. The form dipped. It did. There's no ifs or buts about it. It dipped because that was a priority. That was the priority. And I think I think I can see why. But hopefully, not for Saturday. I wish you all the best after Saturday, obviously.
After Saturday, of course. as fresh as Man U got 6 games before the Carabao final, you've only got 3.
Yeah, I think they played Barcelona 3 days before the final,
and they play us in the FA around that time in the FA Cup 5th round as well. Yeah. So as is tradition, as is the annual tradition, as we get Man United in the cup, I think the 10th time in 16 years or something like that, ridiculously. But. No, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. As you said, I've just been thinking back to those crazy games, and obviously last year was a crazy game at St James, wasn't it? Because it was Dawson got sent off, didn't he? Do you remember, Anton? The wheels just proper came off that game. Dawson got sent off for a lunge, and it was just a really crazy. And that's what I like. I like a crazy. I don't want a boring game. We have some really boring games. I just want something crazy to happen, just to make us a bit more exciting.
Just before we move on, I just want to quickly address a comment which we can't see in the StreamYard, but it's in the YouTube. Sharky has gifted a membership to Crosshammer. It's a new feature you're able to do in YouTube, apparently, which we only found out about the other day. So you can, I think we can also do that. So we'll probably look to do that a few times over the coming weeks, Russ. Well. So just to let you know that. Sorry, thanks.
Nice one, Sharky. Top man. And obviously, then because he's now a member, Crosshammer will be entered into the draw, which we'll do tomorrow for the February. What's it called? Not merchandise, memorabilia draw. You're not going to give that away. Why are you showing it?
I am giving it away.
We're going to give that away tomorrow then.
Yeah. Give that away. Give that one.
All right. Should we give this one away as well? The 92 one.
Yeah,
we'll do that one. We'll give that one away as well. There we go. We'll give this away. This is.
Sorry, Kendall.
Kendall wasn't even a glint in her father's eye when this team was played. But we've got 92, 93. Actually, you went up this season. We were second, and you won the league. This was 92, 93 promotional season in the what was the Division 1. So you got for anyone who's not Kendall, we'd be vaguely interested. You got like Potsy, Ludo, Mark Robson, Georgie Paris. Trevor Brookett.
That's
Trevor
actually lush.
Morley.
That, to be fair, it looks like really
Isn't
good
it?
quality as
It
well.
does
Yeah,
look
it's
nice.
really
It's
nice.
really good. I designed it and I got it printed. And
It's
I got it
brilliant.
signed. Yeah, thank you very much. So yeah, we'll give that away tomorrow, and the Mark Noble signed picture as well. So those are members. So you've got a little bit of time if you want to become a member. Hit the join button, and we'll be giving some. We'll be sorting out some more stuff for members very very soon as well. Right. Oh god, he's the first Geordie I haven't needed a translator to understand. There we go.
Well, it's technically because I'm not. I am a Geordie by heart, if you will. I'm a Geordie fan, but I'm from Durham, so I'm not actually from Newcastle. So my accent's a bit of a. I always get called a Mackham, and obviously I'm not from Sunderland. Luckily, so yeah, that's maybe why.
To be fair, Kendall, they're used to translators with me on the channel, so
yeah, pretty used to it now. Yeah. Being the only one who's probably from like within 5 miles of West Ham from down here, isn't it? So, yeah. So is there anyone in the West Ham team that you're shitting yourself about on Saturday?
Not anyone specifically. I wouldn't say. Obviously, like I know that's going to be very cliche, but obviously, like Declan Rice for me, because he's still, no matter what, even though the form's dipped off for pretty much everyone in the team and stuff, he is still such a quality player for me. And that is where I get concerned, because we've been struggling with scoring goals. So at the moment, or until the other night. So hopefully the form's a little bit back. But yeah, we've been struggling. So I'm worried defensively for ourselves, because we find it depends on how you guys come and play. Obviously, you're saying like you quite like it if a team brings a game to you and you bring the game to them and vice versa. If David Moyes has suddenly just decided, right, we're just going to go to St James's Park, they've been on form, let's just sit back and like analyse the game for a little bit and then we'll decide how to play. Then I'm concerned, because I'm like, we don't break down teams like that. We really struggle against teams like that. So that for me is worrying. Obviously, the whole pack of tasks.
That's exactly what I do.
Great, there you go then. Well done, West Ham.
We'll tell you what, you can tell Eddie what we're going to be playing. 3 at the back. We're going to be playing again. Probably the only 3 centre backs we've got.
I really like again. To be fair, I think he's good. I think he's good.
He's mustard. I mean, I was gutted we didn't get Sven, because I really liked him. I thought he was a real.
To be fair, we were linked with Aged as well.
I know, yeah.
Yeah,
I think that was to push West Ham to pay the money to get him, because we were linked to him summer before last as well, and then it's what Ren did with Lille did with Botman. They just said, "Oh no, someone else wants to buy him now," and it just to try and hurry you guys up a bit. It's a French tactic they use quite a bit. They did it with Moffy over this season as well.
To be fair, with regards to like Agerd, I mean, he got injured in pre-season game in Scotland, and questionably, most people would say that if he had been there from the start, then we could. It's easy for us to say, but to find out the facts, we'll never know. But he could have really changed our season. Now, this is not just for his defensive ability, because defensively we're actually okay. It's what he brings for West Ham moving forward. He's the most exciting defender we have bought for a decade. Easily a decade.
Yeah, probably same with us as well, obviously with Botman. So yeah, I get that completely.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but I think Declan Rice would be interesting. I think also, as I said, I imagine Mr. Ashby is going to be on the bench on Saturday, because Manquillo's injured. He took a knock in training or something I was reading. So I imagine that Ashby might be on the bench. So
honestly, we've got no fullbacks at the minute.
No, you haven't. No, you've got a lot of injuries.
We've got Trippier. Dan Burn's been playing there for like a significant amount of time now, because since we signed Matt Targett permanently, he's been injured. Which is, again, you guys all know all too well stuff like that. So ours is the same. We've got obviously Jamal Lewis, but he's not being favoured from the last 2 managers now. So I think his time is probably coming to a close, to be fair to him. But yeah, I would be very shocked if Ashby wasn't on the bench, simply because we've got actually no fullbacks. If Trippier has an injury, then we've got no one. Like Jacob Murphy's going to have to play right back. So I think he'll probably be on the bench. And to be fair, just the way things are going, and obviously with Bruno missing, I actually wouldn't be surprised if Gordon started, which is very unlike Eddie Howe, because he loves, like, it took Bruno 3 or 4 games to get a start. Same with Isak as well. He didn't start. I don't even know if he started against Liverpool or if he came on against Liverpool. Anyways, it took him weeks to get a start as well. So it'll be very unlike Eddie to give Gordon a start, but I just think needs must without Bruno, because we don't have another central midfielder. who can probably play like that. So he'll have to move Joe Linton back into midfield. And then just judging by the other night, I think it'll probably be Gordon over St. Maximin, really.
Yeah, I think just thinking about it, I think, that midfield battle is going to be quite interesting because obviously Bruno's not going to be there, but our Brazilian midfielder will be there, Paqueta, so that's okay.
Yeah.
So Paqueta and
Bruno's best pal in that, isn't it?
Yeah,
oh
best
no, he's
mates,
getting a bit replaced now. Joe Linton's replaced him a little bit, so might be a little bit upset there.
No, I think I'm looking. I think it'll be a good game. I always look forward to the Newcastle game. There's always a bit of spice, and obviously we'll be playing you quite soon as well. Back in Argaff, because this was obviously was it this one? Was it this one? No, it was the other one, wasn't it? That got stopped because of the Queen funeral. Yeah. So we got to play you twice in sort of reasonably quick succession. So we'll get you back on for that, and then we'll dissect this game next time. That's what we'll do.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
Brilliant.
Absolutely.
Kendall, where can people find you if they want more? There's been some lovely messages in the chat about how grounded you are as a fan.
Yeah, do you know what? I appreciate that because I always pride myself on the fact that I'm a pretty realistic, not even just Newcastle fan, but football fan in general. I quite like analyze stuff realistically, so I'm actually glad other people are seeing that, so I'm really grateful for that. But yeah, if you want to find me, all my socials, just Kendall Rowan. I do have my own YouTube channel, but I don't use it. I really should probably try and use that before Newcastle get good and we get like 50,000 million podcasters pretending that they followed Newcastle for so long. So I better start doing that pretty soon. I've got a couple of things coming up, just filming for the Carabao Cup, things like that, and there'll be new episodes of various things like the overlap and stuff coming up soon. So just you'll find, if you want to find me, I'm pretty sure you will, and if you don't, that's okay. That's fine. I won't be offended. I also won't know.
And more importantly, have you got your ticket sorted for the final yet?
So no, there's been so much drama about that today. You guys will probably know, with obviously very European escapades over the last few years. But yeah, the ticket sales got announced today, and everyone's kicking off about it. So because there's like about 7 periods of sale. So I'm in period 3, because I'm a season ticket holder, and I've been to every Carabao Cup home game, so that's the 3rd period. So no, I have not yet. It goes on sale on Wednesday, so I have got my hotel booked, I have got my train booked. Like I say, I've had that booked since after the Leicester game. But yeah, the ticket is going to be the next thing, but I'm still going to go. Even if I don't get a ticket, I'm still going to go.
Too right.
And just enjoy like London for the weekend. Just enjoy like the probably the 70,000 Geordies that are going to be in London that weekend.
Might book holiday.
That's going to be exciting. Yeah, you have to go away. You'll have to go away. It'll be the most annoying weekend of all time. But yeah, so hopefully, I'm hoping that like 1 to 3 is guaranteed a ticket, because that's kind of what everyone's saying. And then from 4 it's a ballot. So I'm hoping, obviously, I'm not in the ballot. So hopefully I get a ticket, but we'll see. So please, on Wednesday, everyone, fingers crossed for me.
Fingers crossed for you. No worries. Kendall, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very, very much, my friend.
Likewise. Thank you for having me.
We'll kick you out, and then me and Anton will close it.
Yeah,
and stuff.
Pleasure, Kendall.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
All the best after Saturday.
Saturday.
Same to you guys.
Oh, good old Kendall. She was fun, wasn't she?
That was quality. Yeah, it was really
she's
good.
fun. She's fun. As I said, you can check her out. She's on all the socials, Twitter and whatnot, and Instagram and the TikTok, like we are.
Yep.
We're on the TikTok.
We're
doing ticks. Do we do ticks or do we do talks? I don't know what it is.
No idea.
No idea. One or the other. As I said, we've got plenty coming up this weekend.
And we're trending.
And we're trending. We're trending. We're doing this thing with Stranger Things. I don't get it. Is it Stranger Things? That one we did the other day?
No idea.
I don't know. I have no idea. No idea. I feel so much like my dad. But what we forgot to show was a picture of Philippe Albert. Look at the state of him. I know I've aged. I've aged badly, but Philippe has, God dear.
I'm trying to remember who I said I thought that was when you sent it to me. Is it not in the chat?
Oh, yeah, but the thing is that I can't check in your chat. I can't tell. Chris Sculler can check his chat because we don't text each other 50 times a day. So,
all right, so you delete our chat.
It's up to the top. I have to scroll.
You have to, though. Yeah,
I had to find this because Chris had it. But what we got coming up tomorrow? We've got another opposition view, a short one from the We Are West Ham podcast. They interviewed Sean Curtis, who is head of sport on The Sun, who's a big Newcastle fan. But it's just a little clip of him, so that'll be out in the morning. He was basically saying, he's not expecting fireworks on Saturday because we can't score and they can't score. What we're saying as well today. Then tomorrow we've got lunchtime. We've got West Ham Club call phone in. We've got the phone in, the Have Your Say Friday. Phone in and talk about West Ham and all the previews and all that type of stuff. We'll also have Irish Tommy, the Late Late Show. We'll also have the press conference in association with Football London and Jonty's take on that as well. Speaking of We Are West Ham podcast boys, the new episode was out yesterday, so check that out as well. Obviously, we work with the guys and we'll get them on. They come on ours and vice versa. So if you can show them some love, it'd be very, very nice. A few more comments and then we'll skedaddle. What we got to hit the likes, the guys on the mics, indeed. Fantastic pick, innit? It wasn't Frank Skinner. It wasn't Frank Skinner on the right. It was a Belgium interviewer, but he does look a bit like Frank Skinner. Yeah, he does a little bit. Anyway, guys, if you would like, obviously, Sharky very kindly gifted a membership to Crossham, which is very nice, and we appreciate that as well. And if you want to become a member, hit the join button down there. We'll be doing members only shows and starting all that up again properly in the next week or so. And we've got a few other bits for members as well as being instant into the prize draws as well.
We're going to have a look. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear.
No, I was just saying we're kind of going to have a little brief discussion on the membership program as well, and see what we can do to make it a little bit more. So, again, just to reiterate, people wanted to support the channel, so that's why we created the membership program. So we try our best. We do loads of giveaways on it. We give back as much as we can, as well. So yeah, we'll see what we can do to up the game on that side of things.
Yeah, definitely. That'll be like that. Indeed you do. And if you're not, obviously, if you've been watching, enjoy what we do, please subscribe to the channel and hit the like button, hit the comment section. Little cheeky comments, always good, positive, negative. We appreciate any comment because you've taken your time up to tell us something you like or don't like about what we've said. So fair enough. Next week should be a nice week, hopefully. Hopefully we beat Newcastle. But next Tuesday night, we have former academy director,
the Oracle, maybe
the Oracle, 50 years, man and boy at the club. Tony Carr's on, and we'll be talking about obviously the youth team, and obviously the hoo-ha that's we've sort of mentioned about sort of Ashby going and Longello and people like that. We'll be talking to Tony Carr directly, so you can come on and ask him questions, and we can try and get into his mind and see what's going on with the youth team from his perspective, from his learned perspective. So that'll be really, really interesting. And hopefully we'll also have former West Ham legend Laurent Courtois. He'll be on doing a My Ham is 11, maybe Wednesday or Thursday next week. And then we get ready for the weekend. Then we get ready for the Chelsea game. It's Chelsea next week, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh dear, it's all going. Anyway,
the return of Skamaka innings, hopefully.
Well, he's only 30. Well, anyone who watched the What's Name, anyone who watched the Hammers headlines tonight would have known he's had his third injection. His third injection yesterday on his knee, and I give a really technical sort of background about what it is.
Because you've got such a technical background
because
in that industry.
You know what, me and medicine is just like that.
Like that.
So yeah, so what he does is just you don't have to watch it because I know it's he puts the medicine in his knee, but the medicine he creates the medicine with his blood and the platelets in his blood. There we go. Sofiane will be on in a couple of weeks' time, Dennis. He's a football agent, so he was on. So he's been a bit busy the last couple of weeks. But we'll be back on. So make sure you keep an eye out for that day as well. From Tuesday and probably Thursday next week. Depends when Laurent is currently the Columbus coach.
Well, this is why usually you're going to tune in on Tuesday because I've got a few questions I want to ask Tony, and I'll invite some people in the chat to put some questions out to him. So it's kind of it's really resonant with what's happening at West Ham right now. So it's going to be really cool to hear from someone who's what I would classify as the Oracle.
Yeah, I mean, he is, and it'd be interesting. And we were talking before, it'd be interesting to get his view on what the academy is.
Yeah,
from his perspective, what's its role, and I think then would help sort of justify what we're talking about and maybe make some sense. And maybe it's not. Maybe we're trying to make sense out of chaos, But people are rational beings. They try and make sense and try and come up with some examples. So we'll see what.
I think that's it. For me, like we do these, but I get so much out of it. Even when we had Matt Jarvis on the other day, and we were talking about he was involved in a deadline day move, and his wife left in the morning, and he was in London and came home, and they were moved to Norwich. Like it's like and we don't think like. You hear about it, but listening to it, it's so clear cut, and so we learn a lot. But the Tony Carr one is really resonant right now because I'm really, and I know every fan is passionate about the youth of it. I take a really keen interest in like individual players, and I always like going, oh, I think he's like what you do, Russ, like with Ashby. Oh, I think he's the one, unless he was my guy. And I still believe to this day that he could be the one. And you still to this day believe Ashby could be the one. They're the only two recently that I can think of that I would have gone, they could have been the ones. But we'll never know until that moment happens. But so bringing someone like Tony Carr on will kind of hopefully help me understand what the point of the academy is. Has it changed from when he left? What's the future for the academies? And that'll be an interesting one.
Because we were saying before, and I think the change in the perception of what the academy is has changed since he left the club. That's the way I see it, and he would know, and he'll still know what's going on at the club because he's still, he's got a lot of friends and a lot of friends still in the game. He's obviously written his book, which is a great book. We'll plug it on Tuesday, but make sure because he's been talking to Joe and Rio and people like that all about progressing them. I mean, he's basically he is responsible, so to speak, from everyone who's come from Alan Kirbishley into the first team all the way to Declan Rice. Now, Declan Rice, he says it was the last one that he brought through, and he didn't really bring him through, but he signed him when he was a 14-year-old lad, so he still takes that. So so make sure you check that out. Be good fun. And as I said, make sure you join me tomorrow for the phone in, and then we'll do the everything else. We've got loads of stuff. The watch along on Saturday. We'll have the predicted 11, your predicted 11, and then we'll have the final word afterwards and the ratings on Monday, and then we start all over again. All over again. Anton's laughing. All over again. All right then, guys. Take care. Stay safe. Stay warm. Stay humble. Keep the faith, my friends.
Right.
And see you guys very, very soon. Right.